Today I'm going to talk about how to take a part that's been designed as a casting and make that into a machine part. When you design a casting to be machined, you will have to have two separate parts. The idea or the concept is you design the actual casting as it's going to be cast, and then you take the casting into your machine shop and get it machined, which you end up as a separate part file. It may have a different dash number or a completely different number depending on your numbering and how you order things within your company. But the idea here is you're generating a cast part, you're taking that cast part and then cleaning it up in the machine shop. And this is a toe-link tie rod. So this is the cast part. And the way this works is once you have your model designed, you can see I have all my features stacked up in here, and I'll make another video with how this is actually done, is you make a publication. And this publication is linked to this body. So by making this publication, tools publication, you'll notice I have a name. This name is associated to that body. And this is going to be used to create the link into the next file. I do not need a publication, but the publication is going to help with a certain amount of robustness. Maybe I want to change the body that this is associated to, and all I would have to do is reassociate that publication to a new body, and then I would get that updated in the new part file. So now that this has got its publication, the way this works is you can either copy the body here or you can copy the publication. It's going to give you the exact same thing. I'm going to select copy, and to make the machine part, you create a new part file. In this case, I'll just go into part design, and I'm going to go edit, paste special. When I do my paste special, I can do it as a result with a link. I want to link this back to the original. So this is giving me that option. If I do it as a result, I'll have no history. If I do as specified in part document, it's going to actually rebuild without any link to the original. So there is my toe link. Now that I have this body inserted, you can see if I open this up, I have a link here specifying that this is a published element, and this published element is pointing to this part file. What I'm going to do next is I'm going to right mouse click on this body, and I'm just going to simply go to toe link object and do an add. By doing that, I'm creating a boolean. I'm moving this body, or I'm adding this volume into the part body. Now the next thing I'm going to do is perform whatever machine functions that would be taking place in the machine shop. In this case, drilling the holes, machining some of these faces flat for attachment points. So I'm going to create my initial sketch, and I'll go here. And for this, it's just going to be, let me get that out of the way, a couple of circles. One here, and I'll throw one here, and then constrain, concentricity, now you may need to draw two separate pockets here. You can use a whole function or whatever. In this case, it's a little easier to use the pocket to represent this. Some places like to have every pocket defined with a single sketch. In this case, I'm doing two pockets in one. Exit out, create my pocket, mirrored extent, and then again, just make this big so it cuts all the way through the part. Next is going to be, I'll create the machined surfaces on these two faces. So once again, I'm going to need a sketch. And to constrain it, and it's just my nature, I like to completely constrain things if I can, quickly and easily here. And then now, take the curves, select one curve, and then hold the control key down, and then select the rest of the curves. I'm going to mirror that across my horizontal. Exit out, and make a pocket. Again, mirrored extent. I know this is long enough. Cuts all the way through. Select OK. There's my machine face. Now I would do the same thing for these faces over here. I would just simply create another sketch here. Position said sketch. Back it down a little bit. There we go. And again, constrain this. In this case, I'm going to go ahead and throw in a little corner on that. Actually, make it a little bit smaller, my bad. There we go. And now I'm going to symmetry this once again. Pick my lines, pick the first one, hold the control key down. Mirror that over. Exit out. And make my pocket. Then of course you can do the same thing for the inside face. You've seen me do it enough, it's fine. Now, the test is, I'm going to go into the original, my cast part, and I'm going to go through and I'm going to make a change. I'm going to make this a little bit longer. Maybe this needs to go up to 350 mils. Now you'll watch, based off of this modification, if you're not careful, and I'm making this obvious so you see what can potentially happen. So if you're not cautious with your modifications, you can end up with something that's a little less than desirable. So when I exit out, you'll notice here I made that long and I did not remove this little bit of material. So in this case, it's definitely there, it's visible. But in some cases, you may actually leave some very small faces that can cause problems later on. So be cautious about your modifications. You'll notice I didn't get any error messages on this. So when I go to the part and I do an update, you'll see, oh, look at that. It's on this part now. So the way to fix this, the correct way to fix it, is to go to the original and make a modification to the sketch that's associated to. So now you'll see everything works out just fine. And update. So when you're doing these types of functions, you won't necessarily get error messages depending on how robust your model is. And if it's an error message inside the casting, and as you saw in this case, I brought that error potentially into the machine part. So be very cautious about what you're doing, how you're linking things, the features that you use, and how you stack these things up.